O Blessed One, Shakyamuni Buddha, precious treasury of compassion, bestower of supreme inner peace, you who love all beings without exception, are the source of happiness and goodness, and you guide us to the liberating path. Your body is a wish-fulfilling jewel. Your speech is supreme purifying nectar, and your mind is refuge for all living beings. With folded hands I turn to you, supreme unchanging friend. I request from the depths of my heart, please give me the light of your wisdom to dispel the darkness of my mind, and to heal my mental continuum. Please nourish me with your goodness, that I in turn may nourish all beings with an unceasing banquet of delight. Through your compassionate intention, your blessings and virtuous deeds, and my strong wish to rely upon you, may all suffering quickly cease, and all happiness and joy be fulfilled, and may holy Dhamma flourish forevermore.
Okay, good afternoon, everybody. So nice to see you here for some more teachings on our core practice or our heart practice that we call Heart Jewel. So far, we've had 6 teachings on this practice, looking at it from the point of view of Sutra. And so now we're going to have 6 classes looking at this from the point of view of Tantric practice. So today I'm going to explain what is Mahamudra, and the beginning part, the first preliminary of going for refuge. Okay. So the 2 books we're going to be using for these next 6 classes are Mahamudra Tantra and the Oral Instructions of Mahamudra. Both of these books, be using these. So, part 2 of this book is called How to Train in Mahamudra. How to Train in Mahamudra. So, we remember from previous teachings that the unmistaken Dharma is Lamrim, Lojong, and Mahamudra Tantra. Lamrim, Lojong, or Mahamudra Tantra. And we can remember that Jason Kappa presented a very special sequence of teachings, which, if we follow these exactly, we can attain or accomplish enlightenment very swiftly. Maybe we will have the good fortune to accomplish it in this very life. It's quite possible. So we need to understand the sequence and then to practice it. So these things are explained in Offering to the Spiritual Guide, and it explains there the sequence is that first we need to gain some experience of Lamrim, so the stages of the path, which we're all familiar with, and then we need to gain some experience of Lojong. So the Lojong teachings emphasize the practices of equalizing and exchanging self with others and taking and giving, so as to develop bodhicitta, and also encourage us to transform whatever adversities we experience into spiritual realization or into the path. So these two are like the preliminary practices, the foundation upon which we then practice Mahamudra Tantra. So this area of Mahamudra Tantra includes quite a lot. Okay, so this includes the generation stage and completion stage practices of highest yoga tantra. Also, in the teachings on Mahamudra, we are instructed to accomplish the 4 great preliminary guides, which are the foundation for gaining realizations of Mahamudra Tantra. So, before we dive into meditating on the central channel, we need to accomplish not only the foundations of Lamrim and Lojong, but also the foundation of self-generation as Haruka, father and mother of Vajrayogini. Okay, and then on the basis of this, we can meditate on the central channel, okay, and begin to train in the either one of the 2 trainings in Mahamudra. Okay, so how to train in Mahamudra. So in the text, the chapter is the preliminary guide. It says there's no real meaning in this ordinary human life. Period. Geshe is always reminding us of this. There's no real meaning. There's no real purpose in this ordinary human life. Why? Many people who are old or who are very close to dying understand how human life is empty and hollow. Throughout our life, we try very hard to accumulate so many things, such as wealth and possessions. But finally, without choice, everything that belonged to us passes to others. We can carry nothing with us to our next life. As we understand, all the material concerns, all the things of this life, they end. They end with this life. None of these possessions, activities, people, relationships, we don't carry them. What do we carry with us? When we do the death meditation and meditation on dangers of lower rebirth, we consider, what do we carry with us from life to life? Only the contents of our mental continuum. Only the positive and negative karma, neutral karma that we have accumulated. Only the potentialities for delusions and potentialities for virtuous minds, potentiality for neutral minds, this is what we carry, but nothing physical, nothing of this life. So this is very experiential how it's being pointed out here. Many people who are old or who are very close to dying understand how human life is empty and hollow. So maybe you know people, your relatives, who are at this point and Maybe you've had some conversations, maybe they've said some things to you. I don't think we think about it very much, you know? I don't think we think about very much really the end of this life. Like when we think my life, we also think it has an end. Is it clear to us that there's this life we're thinking about, but there's also the end to this life? And so what we carry with us is most important. As Atisha says, we should gather up riches to provide for the future. Or do we think about the end of this life and what it's going to be like at the end of this life? A friend sent me a picture of her mother who's just very slowly wasting away. And her hands are contorted like this, up against her body. And she's just like a skeleton, but still alive. It's torture. It's torture. I don't think we generally, I'm just speaking from my own experience. I don't think generally really think, okay, well, if I do live until XYZ, what is it going to be like? What are the possibilities? And when we look, we see it's dismal. The suffering, the pain for most people. Some people just die quickly in a heart attack like that. Don't experience much, but so many people experience degenerative illnesses, dementia, and so forth. So for all of the energy and time that we invested in all the ordinary activities of this life, they all become like nothing. So then we have to ask this question, as Geshe is posing to us: what is the real meaning of human life? What's worth our time and attention? What's worth the majority of our focus? Then he says, the real meaning of human life is finding and following the correct path to enlightenment. And the supreme correct path to enlightenment is highest Yoga Tantra, especially Mahamudra Tantra. So, in one small paragraph, we've gone from looking at how ordinary human life, is empty and hollow, to looking at the great good fortune that we have met the paths, the teachings, the paths of highest Yoga Tantra. We have met a fully qualified Vajra master or tantric spiritual guide who's given us all the instructions that we need to fully realize the meaning of human life, to escape samsara and be able to help all others do the same thing. So this is an object of rejoicing. When we do the meditation on the preciousness of our human life, this is part of it. We can get specific, not thinking only have we met Buddha's teachings, but we have met the teachings of the Ganden oral lineage, which give us the opportunity to practice the union of Sutra and Tantra and to gain experience of Mahamudra Tantra in this life. How fortunate are we? We can make these Lamrim meditations more and more profound based on our understanding and practice. We can turn that into a meditation that recognizes what we have in terms of the tantric teachings and all those conditions that help us make progress swiftly. So we're deliberately generating joy and recognizing the opportunity we have to engage in the paths of highest Yoga Tantra, especially to engage in the practice of Mahamudra Tantra. All of this coming from the kindness of Tsongkhapa and our modern day Tsongkhapa, our spiritual guide. So what is Mahamudra Tantra? What is Mahamudra Tantra? So it's a part of highest Yoga Tantra, but there's a specific meaning. So Mahamudra Tantra is defined as a mind of fully qualified clear light that experiences great bliss and directly realizes emptiness. It's a mind of fully qualified clear light that experiences great bliss and that realizes emptiness directly. Another term for this is meaning clear light. Meaning clear light. Clear light is this very subtle mind that experiences great bliss. And meaning refers to directly realizing the meaning of emptiness, ultimate truth. We have a direct perception, a direct realization of emptiness, ultimate truth, with this very subtle mind. Okay, so this is Mahamudra Tantra. This enables us to overcome all of our ordinary appearances and conceptions, which is the function of tantric practice in general, to counteract ordinary appearances and conceptions, which are understood as the root of samsaric experience. Ordinary me, ordinary you. We have these appearances, we believe in what we see, and we create actions on the basis of these appearances and conceptions or beliefs. So our ordinary appearances and conceptions keep us locked into samsaric experience. And the function or purpose of Tantra is to counteract or overcome these ordinary appearances and conceptions. Maybe from the fall festival, if those of you who receive the teachings remember, again, the Dekyang and the empowerment, she was saying when we receive an empowerment, we're being led in a guided meditation on all the stages of the path of Sutra and Tantra, but the final object is Tantra. The final object is Tantra. What does that mean? This overcoming of ordinary appearances and conceptions because we've generated ourselves and others as enlightened beings in the Pure Land of the deity. Okay, so we have this new appearance and we believe in this appearance. So with this, we are counteracting or overcoming ordinary appearances and conceptions, okay, through this self-generation practice. So Mahamudra, the experience of meaning clear light, or Mahamudra Tantra, is a very deep level of mind that counteracts or overcomes ordinary appearances and conceptions. No longer do we have the conception of self-grasping. Okay, no longer do we have this. We have this direct perception of emptiness. Okay? And what we are experiencing at that time is this direct realization of emptiness with this mind of great bliss. So what appears to us is the emptiness of all phenomena. Our mind of great bliss is inseparable with this. So Mahamudra Tantra is this very subtle mind, a mind of qualified clear light that experiences great bliss and directly realizes emptiness. So there's two parts. Before I explain this, maybe I should just remind us that this realization is the ultimate meaning of human life. That realization, that particular realization, that is what we are going for. That's what all of our practices are moving us to. Think in Joyful Path, it's explained. Is it Joyful Path? I have to check. But Buddha's intention is to lead us into the path of highest yoga tantra. This is ultimate intention. So Buddha taught so many things, but to lead us into the path of highest yoga tantra and specifically to this realization. So we understand this already because basically the real meaning of human life is to realize emptiness. It's to realize emptiness. Because with the realization of emptiness, what happens? No more samsara. We cease samsaric rebirth. And with the mind of ultimate bodhicitta, then what? We become an enlightened being who has the ability then to bring everybody out of their samsara as well. So this realization of emptiness is the ultimate meaning of our human life. It is the purpose of Buddhist teachings. And Venerable Geshe-la, one time he said, this is why Geshe Kelsang has come here. This is why I've come here. Is to reveal these teachings on ultimate truth, emptiness. So Mahamudra Tantra, if we have this basic sutra understanding of emptiness in general, then Mahamudra Tantra intellectually is not very difficult to understand because we are still meditating on emptiness, right? As a mind fully qualified, pure light, experience with wisdom, directly realizes emptiness. The main thing, directly realizing emptiness, which we understand. The first part of this description of Mahamudra Tantra is being able to manifest the very subtle mind of great bliss and to use this deepest level of mind to meditate on and realize emptiness. So we have the subject and the object. The object is ultimate truth emptiness. The subject is the mind of spontaneous great bliss. The teachings on emptiness, as we know, are common to both Sutra and Tantra. Those teachings don't differ. But the difference, generally, we could say, is that the difference lies in the mind with which we are meditating on emptiness. In Sutra teachings, we're only taught about the gross mind. We're not taught about the very subtle mind. But in Tantric teachings, we're taught about more subtle levels of mind. So when we learn about more subtle levels of mind, we can come to understand that the actual direct realization of emptiness is only gained with the very subtle mind. Our gross mind is a superficial level of consciousness. So although Buddha teaches us about emptiness and meditating on it with the gross mind, it is a preparation for then being able to train in the paths of Highest Yoga Tantra and manifest more subtle levels of mind with which we will meditate on the same object, emptiness, ultimate truth. If we understand this, we can see how incredibly skillful Buddha is. Like if he were to first go into Highest Yoga Tantra, maybe, who knows, might be too profound, too complicated, too much, And it was the same for myself. Early on in my practice, I remember thinking, wow, this tantric stuff is like overwhelming. I remember reading Tantric Grounds and Paths early on in my practice and almost getting freaked out, to be honest, and thinking, what is this? Like those 6 deities, abiding in fire, abiding in sound. Now I love it. Now this is amazing, But for me at the beginning, it was quite unusual. I even remember engaging in Vajragini self-generation practice and then getting really scared because I ripened this fear, actually. All this blood and these crazy things, skeletons. For me, it was just like a little bit much, But Buddha is so incredibly skillful, leading so many living beings gradually along the path to this final understanding and practice of being able to meditate on emptiness with more and more subtle levels of mind. Okay. So now let's look at the first part, great bliss. Okay. Explained a little about emptiness, the object of the mind. So now, how do we manifest this mind of fully qualified clear light that experiences great bliss? How do we do this? No idea. Don't know, actually. Look at the book. Okay. So I marked my spot. I did. Okay, so this is in the chapter, What is Mahamudra? And this explains the 10 chakras along the central channel, the 10 channel wheels. So it says, there are only 10 doors through which the winds can enter the central channel. Okay? Only 10 doors through which the winds, subtle energy winds that are associated with consciousness, different minds. So there are only 10 doors through which the winds can enter the central channel. Then it lists them. Just as we can enter a house through any of the doors leading in from the outside, so the winds can enter the central channel through any of these 10 doors. The central channel is in reality one single channel, but it is divided into different sections based on these 10 channel wheels. So we have the central channel of the heart channel wheel, okay, for instance. Because there are these different locations, when a practitioner wants to bring his or her winds into the central channel, he or she must choose one of these points at which to concentrate. In Clear Light of Bliss, I explain how to bring the inner winds into the central channel through the sixth of the 10 doors, the center of the navel channel wheel. So this past summer, in the summer festival teachings, we received instructions on this. Okay. So we do this by visualizing our inner heat, or tumo, inside our navel channel, in the aspect of a short ah, and meditating on this. This is a common practice that accords with the tradition of the 6 yogas of Naropa. So you can read more about the origin of this instruction in the text. However, according to the instructions of the Ganden oral lineage, there's an uncommon Mahamudra Tantra practice. Uncommon means the instructions are possessed only by Jaisangkapa's lineage, whereas the common instructions are shared amongst different lineages. Okay, meditating on the tumo at the navel, many other Vajrayana lineages practice this, but there's the uncommon Mahamudra practice of the Ganden oral lineage, which we have the inconceivable good fortune to receive these instructions. It is a very special practice of Mahamudra that Jaisangkapa received directly from Manjushri, who had received it directly from Buddha. And then the lineage is given here. Now, in case we weren't convinced by this origin of the instruction, there's scriptural citation that's given to support the authenticity of this practice. Because this practice was revealed, basically we could say, in a series of transcendent visions in which Manjushri transmitted the instructions directly to Jaisangkapa. So some people might have this doubt, well, where is it in the Tantras? All well and good that there's this kind of revelation experience. Where is the scriptural citation in Buddha's teachings? And I think it's a valid question. And so Geshe-la answers the question. So in this Mahamudra practice of the Ganden oral lineage, we choose the heart channel wheel from among the 10 doors into the central channel. This practice is indicated in the Siddhana offering to the spiritual guide. And it's quoted from the Siddhana. Because penetrating and concentrating on the indestructible drop at the heart is a powerful method for attaining the realizations of completion stage, Buddha Vajradhara praises this method in Abhidhana Tantra, where he says, "Those who meditate on the drop that always abides at the heart," this means the indestructible drop inside of the heart channel wheel. So those who meditate on the drop that always abides at the heart, single-pointedly and without change, will definitely attain realizations. Mahasiddha Gantapa also encouraged us to do this meditation. Therefore, our uncommon Mahamudra Tantra practice begins with meditating on the central channel of the heart channel wheel. The transmission, teachings, and lineage of this uncommon instruction are not possessed by any other tradition, as I've explained. So, then Geshe relates a brief story about Milarepa. Maybe you know about Milarepa, having to work so hard to purify negativities and accumulate merit. And his guru Marpa really put him through a lot of challenges so that he could train his mind. So then it says here, why did he, Milarepa, have to labor so long and hard when later practitioners such as Mahasiddha Dharmavajra and Gyalwa and Sapa were able to attain full enlightenment so quickly and easily? The only reason is that the later practitioners received these special instructions of Jaisangkapa, which are very simple and very blessed. Because Jaisangkapa is an emanation of all the Buddhas, and to receive these instructions from Manjushri, I'm sure for other reasons, the power of these instructions is incredible, very blessed. So because they're simple and very blessed, for them, every problem was easily solved. And it was very easy for them to make progress and attain Buddhahood quickly. It is said that thousands of Jaisangkapa's disciples have attained a deathless Vajra body, a pure illusory body, without having to engage in hardships as Milarepa did. They all practiced very joyfully and smoothly because of the special qualities of these instructions. So it's our good fortune that we have met these instructions, which are very blessed, very simple, and help us to attain realizations very quickly. So if we meditate on the central channel of the heart channel wheel, and we meditate on the indestructible drop, and we meditate on the indestructible wind and mind inside the drop, we will cause our winds to enter, abide within the central channel, enter, abide, and dissolve within the central channel. Okay? The winds of the outer channels, such as the left and right channels, which support self-grasping and dualistic appearances, dualistic conceptions. Okay, these inner winds, which support these deluded minds, will dissolve within the central channel at the heart. So these delusions will become non-manifest. As a result of meditating in this way, what will happen? Our mind will become more and more subtle, and eventually we will manifest the very subtle mind, the clear light. So as we engage in this training, we become skilled and more proficient in this training. We will be able to recognize the signs of dissolution, be able to identify the very subtle mind of clear light, and use then that manifest very subtle mind to meditate on emptiness, ultimate truth. Okay. So when we manifest this very subtle mind through causing all of the winds to enter, abide, and dissolve within the central channel, we will experience a qualified clear light. And this mind experiences great bliss. We will gain what we call example clear light, then ultimate example clear light, and then meaning clear light. Ultimate example clear light refers to meditating on emptiness with a generic image, but with all of the winds gathered and dissolved within central channel. That very subtle mind is manifest, but we are meditating on emptiness with the example of the meaning, which is a generic image. The generic image is the example of the actual meaning of ultimate truth. So this is what we call example clear light. As we progress in this, as we understand from all of our meditation instructions what will happen, we will progress to seeing directly emptiness, ultimate truth, no longer through the medium or the tool of the generic image. We will behold it directly with a very subtle mind. We will have the meaning of emptiness, and so we use the term meaning clear light. Okay. So, this is an explanation of Mahamudra Tantra. Okay. A fully qualified mind of clear light that experiences great bliss and that realizes emptiness directly without the means or having meditated on the generic image, then passing through that to beholding emptiness directly. This is the meaning of Buddha's teachings. This is it. This bliss can also be understood to possess compassion. Okay? We in terms of Haruka, father and mother, we think of Haruka, we think of compassion. It symbolizes the compassionate bliss of all the Buddhas. And Mother Vajravarahi Vajrayogini symbolizes the ultimate wisdom of all the Buddhas. So when we are generating great bliss, this is also on the continuum of our bodhicitta. Okay, it's not separate from bodhicitta. It's like a profound, more profound level of the mind. Okay, the bodhicitta mind. So contained within this experience of Mahamudra Tantra, we can say is ultimate bodhicitta, of highest yoga tantra. And this is the purpose of Buddhist teachings. It's incredible. How would we ever know this without Tsongkhapa? How would we ever know this so clearly? Like, I've just explained probably the most profound essence of Buddhist teachings, but so clear, just step by step. I don't think without Tsongkhapa's teachings, without Venerable Geshe's instructions, would we understand so clearly and practically the real essence of Buddhist teachings. That all the rivers of Sutra and Tantra flow into this ocean of emptiness and bliss. There's lots to say about great bliss, so you can read the chapter, and we'll come back to it again in these classes. But it's helpful to know that there are many levels of bliss. There's blissful levels of mind that we experience in Sutra, of course. There's the bliss of liberation. There's the bliss of tranquil abiding, and so forth, the bliss of suppleness arising from tranquil abiding. There's many levels of bliss. Also, we can say there's contaminated and uncontaminated bliss. Okay? So, how wonderful that we get to train in bliss. It's fantastic. Fantastic. You have permission. Tsongkhapa is saying, train in bliss. Train in pure bliss. And I think it's really important to know that it's not at some point in our practice like, boom, the bliss comes. Like, there's the great bliss. It's all on a continuum. It's all on a continuum. Ketta Morton was really kind of, I think, alluding to this in the introduction to the Fall Festival when he talked about how many insights we can gain just from the experience of breathing meditation alone. Because it's true. When we train in breathing meditation, we pacify our distractions, we do experience a level of bliss. We certainly do. Our mind is more peaceful, less distracted. There's this positive feeling, this good energy like this. So it's not great bliss, of course. But it's along the continuum. Okay? So we want to recognize this and see that as our mind becomes more and more subtle and pacified, we will experience greater levels of bliss. And as we are able to cause our inner winds to enter within the central channel, we'll experience more bliss. Abide, we will experience more bliss. And dissolve, we'll experience more bliss. It's all on a continuum like this. Okay? So how wonderful that we get to train in wisdom and bliss. Fantastic. The whole point, the whole point of Buddhist teachings is to find pure and ultimate happiness. So if we know how to do this in a qualified way, we should give ourselves the permission to do it. I mean, everyone's trying to experience bliss, but they're not really experiencing bliss. They're experiencing changing suffering and contaminated pleasant feelings, but really not bliss, So we find here an instruction on how to develop pure experiences of bliss that are in the nature of our virtuous mind, that come through this beautiful technology, and that show us really the nature of our mind is great bliss. Because when we get out of the gross and subtle levels and we are able to manifest a very subtle level, it's telling us this, what will we experience? Naturally, we will experience a profound level of peace and happiness and bliss. That is this nature of our mind. So why are we chasing after contaminated pleasures when right inside of our own heart is the most profound level of bliss and happiness we could ever experience? I'm saying this to me as well as to you, okay? When we think about these things, what will arise? A non-attachment, a renunciation, but that is related to an understanding of highest Yoga Tantra. We will want not ordinary contaminated experiences of worldly pleasure, but we will want this pure experience of bliss that is inseparable from emptiness, the profound fulfillment of our wish for happiness. And we don't even have to work as hard as Milarepa did. We don't even have to work as hard as we do in our ordinary life. It's true. Okay, so I need to wrap up. Here. I want us now to get into understanding the preliminary guide just briefly. And then in the next class, we'll pick up instructions on the preliminary guide, which lay the foundation for effective training in Mahamudra. The effectiveness of our meditations on Mahamudra Tantra depends upon our accumulating great merit and wisdom, purifying negativities, and receiving the special blessings of the Wisdom Buddha. These are the preliminary guides that make our meditation successful. In particular, sincere practitioners collect 100,000 of each of the following 4 great preliminary guides. Okay, 4 great, the main preliminaries, these 4. These are 1, going for refuge and generating bodhicitta. 2, a special way of relying upon the spiritual guide known as Guru Yoga. 3, making mandala offerings. And 4, meditation and recitation of Vajrasattva. There now follows an explanation of how to practice the preliminary guide to Mahamudra practice in conjunction with Heart Jewel, which can be found in Appendix 5. Extraordinary. This is a miracle. So gaining instructions on the most profound teachings of Buddha, these Mahamudra Tantra teachings, being taught about Buddha's ultimate intention, where he's leading us, we can incorporate the most profound trainings into Heart Jewel. We should never think of Heart Jewel as like, oh, Heart Jewel. That's what we do all the time at the center. That's what we can emphasize, do Heart Jewel. I've memorized it. I have it on CD in my car. I chant along with it. Heart Jewel. Did it. Check. Did my commitments. It's good to keep our commitments. Very good. But we don't want to lose sight of how beautiful Heart Jewel is, how we can incorporate every training of Sutra and Tantra into that practice, our heart practice. So, just a brief explanation of going for refuge that's given here, and I'll guide a meditation on this after the discussion. But I want to point out that in this book, Oral Instructions of Mahamudra, so this book arose from teachings that Venerable Geshe gave directly to Genla Dekyung, Genla Khenrab, I think Genla Kunseng, Genla Tipton, Ringyal, some others at that time. Samton wasn't there, no. And so like oral instructions directly relaying these things, and later it was turned into this text. So these two are very compatible. Okay, we got more detail here. And in this text, we're introduced to the practice, the hundreds of deities of the joyful land, according to Highest Yoga Tantra, which is Heart Jewel. It's just taken from our normal Heart Jewel and developed in a different way. Okay, but same essential practice. Hundreds of deities of joyful land. This is Guru Yoga of Jason Kappa. Okay, so same. Now, in here, we can know a little bit about the preliminary guide of refuge. So, the purpose of these guidelines, as mentioned in part 1, the practice of Mahamudra is like a car with 4 wheels. By depending upon this practice, we can travel to the ground of ultimate happiness, the state of enlightenment, easily and quickly. The 4 great preliminary guides are like the 4 wheels of the car. If any of the wheels is missing, the car will not be able to function. And in the same way, if any of the 4 great preliminary guides is missing, we will not be able to travel to the Buddha ground through the practice of Mahamudra. Okay? Therefore, if we really wish to attain permanent liberation from all the sufferings of this life and our countless future lives, and experience the ultimate bliss of enlightenment by depending upon the practice of Mahamudra, it is very important that we put great effort into the practice of the 4 great preliminary guides. To make this practice effective, I have prepared these guidelines. So in the appendix 1 of oral instructions, these guidelines, the 4 great guides are given. Final sentence, please practice them sincerely without distractions. With distractions, we cannot accomplish anything. Okay. So in the practice of these 4 great guides, we collect 100,000 of certain different things. Okay, so in the practice of refuge, we collect or accumulate 100,000 recitations of the refuge prayer. So we can use the prayer of going for refuge in Heart Jewel. In other presentations of the Great Preliminary Guide, there will be other refuge prayers. The words will be different, but the meaning is the same. Okay, so in this explanation, coming in Mahamudra Tantra, okay, this one, we can use the prayer of going for refuge, okay, and to recite this prayer 100,000 times as a basic preliminary foundational practice. Along with the recitation of these 100,000 refuge prayers, of course, we're meditating on going for refuge. We're gathering the causes, which are renunciation and compassion. This, okay? The causes of faith and the 3 jewels, like this. We're generating these minds, generating faith, good motivation, reciting the prayer. This prayer is so blessed. Atisha himself composed this prayer. It's extraordinary to know these things, we recite them, blah, 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 blah. But that is Atisha's words. The prayer of the stages of the path is Jason Kappa's words. There's extraordinary, extraordinary gifts to us included here in this practice. So finally about this, and we'll come back to it as we look at the other great preliminary guides, but we can accomplish accumulating or gathering these recitations in the course of our daily life, our daily practice and retreat. Okay, we can be traveling and doing this. We don't have to be on the same cushion. So when we do a close retreat, where we would recite, depending on the close retreat, at least 100,000 mantras of a certain deity, we have certain boundaries, certain commitments, stay in the same seat and so forth like this. They have to be done continuously, without break, when we do a close retreat, because we're drawing close to the deity. But that's a close retreat. And this practice of the preliminaries, we could spend some time reciting the refuge prayer and gathering them. So maybe 1 mala, great. And you have a little record, 100 like this. And then maybe you do a little retreat and you get some more like this. Maybe you do a long retreat. Doesn't matter. We just keep going like this. Okay? When you're traveling, wherever, you could be doing Heart Jewel on the airplane. Get your mala out. Get a long flight. Generating the minds. Accomplishing your preliminary. So this is why the preliminary guide accumulations are easier than the close retreat. And we're going to, in January, we're going to focus on the preliminary guide of Guru Yoga. Okay? So you can accomplish or accumulate this wherever you are, whatever you're doing. And in 1 month, if you accomplish 40,000, amazing, you're 40% through. And then you can finish, in however long it takes you, like this. So the accumulations work like that with the preliminary guide. Less restrictions, a bit more flexible. So next class we'll pick up with refuge and we'll look at another of the preliminary guides. I think we will look at purification. That'll be the next one to look at. And after that, we'll look at mandala offering. And we'll have a class. I want to have an actual class. Everybody should get a kit so you can learn how to make the traditional mandala offering like this. If you haven't done it or need a refresher. And then we'll look at the Guru Yoga. And then I'll explain about meditating on the heart channel wheel. That'll be towards the end. Okay, so let's pause here. That's good. Okay, we have some time for discussion. So why don't you break up into 2s or 3s? and discuss Mahamudra Tantra, your understanding, any questions, anything about the preliminary guides, and then we can come back together. Any questions? Burning questions, Sheila? Okay. Uh-huh. Can't use them. You have to have the intention to accumulate the preliminary and keep track of them. It's good to have a little project. So you would say, okay, the thing I'm going to emphasize right now is my refuge preliminary. So then until you accomplish that, then that's a focus in your sadhana. So you might spend some time doing that along with your Lamrim meditation or what have you. Okay. So yeah. Sorry, Jennifer. Yes. So the object refers to the object of mind, and subject refers to the mind itself. Subject and object. Where does this come up again more? Where does this come up again more? Yeah, how to understand the mind, the many different types of object and subjective mind. Eventually we come to this experience that there's no difference between the subject and the object with this realization. But it's just a way of saying mind and object of mind. I don't, but I wish I did. I imagine it though. Hypothetically. No. There's many levels of clear light. So, for instance, this is why it's called a fully qualified clear light that experiences great bliss, because we can experience some like initial clear light through having some of the winds entering, dissolving and abiding. How do you say it? Abiding and dissolving with the central channel. And as we become skilled at causing more and more of those, then the experience of clear light becomes more and more qualified, as it says. I think it's explained in Mahamudra Tantra, like some winds dissolve, many winds dissolve, all winds dissolve, like this. So then the experience of clear light becomes deeper and deeper and deeper, clearer, more vivid, powerful. Meaning clear light is not enlightenment. Meaning clear light, well, there's different levels of meaning clear light, but that initial realization is the path of seeing. It's not the path of no more learning. It is a direct perception, but we haven't completely realized the union of the two truths. That's Buddha's mind. So we keep meditating on meaning clear light until we attain the meaning clear light of a Buddha, which will be the union of no more learning eventually. I'm sure that when we get there, it'll feel as if we almost were enlightened at that point. But technically speaking, it's not. Yeah. Okay. So why rely upon Jason Kappa? Why rely upon? Because what we're going to do now is engage in the yoga, Guru Yoga of Jason Kappa. So from our previous classes, we understood many things about the good qualities of Jason Kappa. He is a synthesis of Avalokiteshvara, Manjushri, and Vajrapani. He is the synthesis of all Buddhas in this way. Because the qualities of compassion, wisdom, spiritual power, and so forth. So we understand many qualities of Jason Kappa. But why, from the point of view of this tantric practice and experience, why rely upon Jason Kappa? So read here. This is to encourage our mind of refuge. So it is explained. Let's see. It's explained in the chat. This is Mahamudra Tantra, preliminary guide. It's at the end of the invitation verse. So we visualize that Jaisangkappa's heart is Buddha Shakyamuni and at his heart is a living Buddha Haruka. So we understand this is Guru Sumati Buddhaharuka. Okay. So even in our common heartful practice, we can visualize like this. Now, in other practices, it's spelled out specifically, but in this practice, we can visualize in this way. The instructions in this book explain how to do just with this more basic sadhana. Okay, so we know Jason Kappa in this way. So here it says, we then contemplate the preeminent qualities of Jason Kappa. His nature is the synthesis of all the Buddhas of the past, present, and future. And his function, his ability, is to bestow upon us the wisdom of example clear light and meaning clear light. His ability is to bestow these realizations of clear light, both example and meaning clear light. To bestow upon us these essential realizations of Buddha's teachings. He is the wisdom Buddha and will bestow upon us this wisdom of example, clear light, and meaning, clear light. So this is why then we go for refuge to Jason Kappa to receive these blessings and realizations. In this way, we develop and maintain strong faith in Lama Losang Buddhaharuka, which also means Guru Samadhi Buddhaharuka, by shining the sun of our faith on the snow mountain of Lama Losang Buddhaharuka. His water-like blessings will continually flow down upon us, nourishing and healing our mental continuum. Amazing. Nourishing and healing the mind stream through bestowing upon us these realizations. So let's begin with a little meditation now on going for refuge. And then we will have a 5-minute silence after absorbing the Guru at the heart to meditate on the nature of the mind, okay, to identify our own mind. So finding a comfortable posture with your back being straight but relaxed. Turn your attention to your breathing for a few moments. What is the real meaning of human life? It is to realize emptiness with a very subtle mind. The real meaning of human life is finding and following the correct path to enlightenment. The supreme correct path to enlightenment is highest Yoga Tantra, and especially Mahamudra Tantra. To bring great meaning to our human life and to the lives of others. To accomplish our own and others' purpose. We can go for refuge to the Guru and Three Jewels, so that we can follow and realize the paths of highest Yoga Tantra, especially Mahamudra Tantra, We go for refuge to the Guru and Three Jewels, so that we can realize emptiness, ultimate truth, directly, with a very subtle mind. This will liberate us permanently and bestow upon us the everlasting peace and bliss of enlightenment, and will give us the power to benefit, help, guide, and protect each and every living being. We can now begin by reciting our prayers of going for refuge while concentrating on the meaning.
I and all sentient beings until we achieve enlightenment, go for refuge to Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. I and all sentient beings until we achieve enlightenment, go for refuge to Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. I and all sentient beings until we achieve enlightenment, go for refuge to Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. Through the virtues I collect by giving and other perfections, may I become a Buddha for the benefit of all. Through the virtues I collect by giving and other perfections, may I become a Buddha for the benefit of all. Through the virtues I collect by giving and other perfections, may I become a Buddha for the benefit of all. From the heart of the protector of the hundreds of deities of the joyful land, to the peak of a cloud which is like a cluster of fresh white curd, all-knowing Losangrakpa, King of the Dharma, please come to this place together with your sons. In the space before me on a lion throne, lotus and moon, the venerable Gurus smile with delight. O supreme field of merit for my mind of faith, please remain for 100 eons to spread the doctrine. Your mind of wisdom realizes the full extent of objects of knowledge. Your eloquent speech is the ear ornament of the fortunate. Your beautiful body is ablaze with the glory of renown. I prostrate to you, whom to see, to hear, and to remember is so meaningful. Pleasing water offerings, various flowers, sweet-smelling incense, light, scented water, and so forth. A vast cloud of offerings, both set out and imagined, I offer to you, O supreme field of merit. Whatever non-virtues of body, speech, and mind I have accumulated since time without beginning, especially transgressions of my 3 vows, with great remorse I confess each one from the depths of my heart. In this degenerate age you strove for much learning and accomplishment. Abandoning the 8 worldly concerns, you made your freedom and endowment meaningful. O protector from the very depths of my heart, I rejoice in the great wave of your deeds. From the billowing clouds of wisdom and compassion, in the space of your truth body, O venerable and holy Gurus, please send down a rain of vast and profound Dharma, appropriate to the disciples of this world. through the virtues I have accumulated here. May the doctrine and all living beings receive every benefit. Especially may the essence of the doctrine of Venerable Los Andropos shine forever. The ground sprinkled with perfume and spread with flowers, the great mountain for land, sun, and moon, seen as a Buddha land and offered thus. May all beings enjoy such pure lands. Idam Guru Ratna Mandala Kapniryatayami. Tsongkhapa, crown ornament of the scholars of the land of the snows. Tsongkhapa, crown ornament of the scholars of the land of the snows. Lord Tsongkhapa, I request you please grant your blessings. The path begins with strong reliance on my kind teacher, source of all good. Oh, bless me with this understanding to follow him with great devotion. This human life with all its freedoms extremely rare with so much meaning. Oh, bless me with this understanding all day and night to seize its essence. My body like a water bubble decays and dies so very quickly. After death come results of karma just like the shadow of a body. With this firm knowledge and remembrance bless me to be extremely cautious, always avoiding harmful actions and gathering abundant virtue. Samsara's pleasures are deceptive, give no contentment, only torment. So please bless me to strive sincerely to gain the bliss of perfect freedom. Oh, bless me so that from this pure thought come mindfulness and greatest caution, to keep as my essential practice the doctrine's root, the pratimoksha. Just like myself, all my kind mothers are drowning in samsara's ocean. Oh, so that I may soon release them, bless me to train in bodhicitta. But I cannot become a Buddha by this alone without three ethics. So bless me with the strength to practice the Bodhisattva's ordination, by pacifying my distractions and analyzing perfect meanings. Bless me to quickly gain the union of special insight and quiescence. When I become a pure container through common paths, bless me to enter the essence, practice of good fortune, the supreme vehicle Vajrayana. The two attainments both depend on my sacred vows and my commitments. Bless me to understand this clearly and keep them at the cost of my life. By constant practice in 4 sessions away, explained by holy teachers. Oh, bless me to gain both the stages which are the essence of the Tantras. May those who guide me on the good path and my companions all have long lives. Bless me to pacify completely all obstacles, outer and inner. May I always find perfect teachers and take delight in holy Dharma. Accomplish all grounds and paths swiftly and gain the state of Vajradhara. From the hearts of all the holy beings, streams of light and nectar flow down, granting blessings and purifying. O glorious and precious root Guru, please sit on the lotus and moon seat at my heart. Please care for me with your great kindness, and grant me the blessings of your body, speech, and mind. O glorious and precious root Guru, please sit on the lotus and moon seat at my heart. Please care for me with your great kindness, and bestow the common and supreme attainments. O glorious and precious root Guru, please sit on the lotus and moon seat at my heart. Please care for me with your great kindness, and remain firm until I attain the essence of enlightenment. through being cared for throughout all my lives, by conqueror Sankapa as my Mahayana Guru, may I never turn away even for an instant from this excellent path raised by the conquerors. I have the clarity of the Yuga before me in the center of red and black fire and wind. On a lotus and stone trampling demons and obstructors is a terrifying line which is powerful and alert. Upon this is a great King Doji Shukan, the supreme heart jewel of Dharma protectors. His body is clothed in the garments of a monk, and on his head he wears a round yellow hat. His hands hold a sword and a heart of compassion. To his followers he shows an expression of delight, but to subdue demons and obstructors he displays a wrathful manner. He is surrounded by a vast assembled retinue, such as his attendant Kachimapo and so forth. Light rays from my heart seem to invite the wisdom beings from the sphere of nature and from all the different classes where they abide. They become inseparable from the commitment beings. Respectfully I prostrate with body, speech, and mind. I offer a mass of hither and latter offerings, blissful toys, alcohol, tea, cakes, milk, and curd, but actually set out and mentally imagine filling the whole of space. Commitment fulfilling, reliance in appropriate substances, latter in a secret, attractive and cleansing offerings filling the whole of space. I offer these to the entire assembly. May I fulfill the heart commitment and restore my broken commitments, all my harmful thoughts and actions that have offended your mind, O great protector. I confess from the depths of my heart. Please purify them swiftly and care for me with love like a mother for her child. I beseech you from the depths of my heart, O supreme deity. Please cause the tradition of Sankapa to flourish, extend the life and activities of the glorious gurus, and increase the study and practice of Dharma within the Dharma communities. Please be with me always like the shadow of my body, and grant me your unwavering care and protection. Destroy all obstacles and adverse conditions. Bestow favorable conditions and fulfill all my wishes. Now is the time to show clearly your versatile strength. 3 or 4 actions which are swift, incisive, and unobstructed, to fulfill quickly my special heartfelt desires, in accordance with my wishes. Now is the time to distinguish the truth and falsity of actions and effects. Now is the time to dispel false accusations against the innocent. Now is the time to protect the pitiful and protected. Now is the time to protect our practitioners as your children. In short, from now until I attain the essence of enlightenment, I shall honor you as the embodiment of my Guru, deity, and protector. Therefore, please watch over me during the 3 periods of the day and the night, and never waver in your actions as my protector. Whenever your followers with commitments request any of the 4 actions, swiftly, incisively, without delay, show signs for all to see. So please accomplish the actions that I now request of you. The stateless sun of Jisvakarma's tradition shines throughout the sky of samsara and nirvana, illuminating the darkness of inferior and wrong paths. Please cause its light to spread and bring good fortune to all living beings. May the glorious gurus who uphold this tradition have indestructible lives as stable as the supreme tree. May they send down a rain of deeds fulfilling the wishes of disciples, so that Jisvakarma's doctrine will flourish. Through increasing the study, practice, pure discipline, and harmony, other communities who uphold the stainless doctrine of the and who keep moral discipline with pure minds, please cause the Kirtan tradition to increase like a waxing. Through your actions, please fulfill the essential wishes of all practitioners to uphold the victory of practicing single-pointedly the stages of the paths of Sutra and Tantra, the essence of all the teachings they have. Beings throughout this great earth are engaged in different actions of Dharma, non-Dharma, happiness, suffering, cause and effect. Through your skillful deeds of preventing and nurturing, these lead all beings into the good path to ultimate happiness. In particular, please destroy the obstacles and unfavorable conditions of myself and other practitioners. Increase our lives, our merit, and our resources, and gather all things animate and inanimate to be freely enjoyed. Please be with me always like the shadow of my body, and care for me always like a friend, by accomplishing swiftly whatever I wish for, and whatever I ask of you. Please perform immediately without delaying for a year or even for a month appropriate actions to eliminate all obstacles caused by misguided beings with harmful minds who try to destroy Jisvakarma's doctrine, and especially by those who try to harm practitioners. Please remain in this place, always surrounded by most excellent enjoyments, as my guests partake continuously of dharmas and offerings. And since you are entrusted with the protection of human wealth and enjoyment, never waver as my guardian throughout the day and the night. All the attainments I desire arise from merely remembering you. O wish fulfilling jewel, protect all the time. Please accomplish all my wishes. All the attainments I desire arise from merely remembering you. O wish fulfilling jewel, protect all the time. Please accomplish all my wishes. All the attainments I desire arise from me remembering you. O wish fulfilling jewel, protect all the time. Please accomplish all my wishes. By this virtue may I quickly attain the enlightened state of the Guru, and then lead every living being without exception to that ground. Through my virtues from practicing with pure motivation, may all living beings throughout all their lives never be parted from peaceful and wrathful Manjushri, but always come under their care. Protector of all my acquaintances, including the gods, matchless, venerable spiritual guide, supreme friend and liberator, whose nature is lost and dragged, synthesis of all three lineages, of sublime humble illuminating the entire universe, I request you. Oh, what great good fortune to have met your precious Dharma of labor instructions. I request you, please bestow upon me the state of the union of Heruka, so that I will be able to benefit all living beings. In these impure times you manifest as our spiritual guide, endowed with the excellence of learning and purity. O supreme ocean of infinite good fortune, I request you, please bestow upon me the state of the union of Heruka, so that I will be able to benefit all living beings. The doctrine of Buddha, and especially the doctrine of protected manuscripts, oral lineage, exists through the kindness of the previous holy gurus. Now you reveal this excellent profound Dharma to fortunate modern good disciples. I request you, please bestow upon me the state of the union of Heruka, so that I will be able to benefit all living beings. In these degenerate times you cherish your Buddha Dharma. You show us how to begin, make progress in, and complete our practice of Dharma, through which we will attain supreme, permanent liberation and happiness, and yet due to the strength of our worldly concerns, we are unable to repay your kindness. Oh, please be patient with us. Through the compassionate intention that you previously generated, and considering the kindness of your own spiritual guide, O Supreme Spiritual Guide, please remain at my heart and bestow upon me the state of the union of Heruka, so that I will be able to benefit all living beings. You take on the great responsibility of caring every day for the doctrine of the greatest, giving to everyone equally without discrimination the precious opportunity to accomplish one's own purpose and the purpose of others. O Guru Samadhi Buddha Heruka, please remain at my heart forever, so that all directions will be pervaded by a matchless excellence deep. Through the blessings of the Guru and three precious jewels, the sublime assistance of the yield and Dharma protectors, and the faithful heart that regrets the precious doctrine of Buddha Dharma, flourish forever, and may all live in it find ultimate happiness, especially through the force of the blessings of Buddha, Father and Mother, and the virtuous deeds of the great Dharma protector, Dorje Shukran. May the doctrine of Ekandi knowledge pervade all directions, so that each and every living being may find the supreme happiness of enlightenment.
O Guru Vajradhara, Kalpabhadra Samudra Sri Bhadra, Kalsangyatsu, excellent glory, Sawa Siddhi Hum, please bestow upon me all the attainments, especially the state of the union of Haruka. O Guru Vajradhara, Kalpabhadra Samudra Sri Bhadra, Kalsangyatsu, excellent glory, Sawa Siddhi Hum, please bestow upon me all the attainments, especially the state of the union of Haruka. O Guru Vajradhara, Kalpabhadra Samudra Sri Bhadra, Kalsangyatsu, excellent glory, Sawa Siddhi Hum, please bestow upon me all the attainments, especially the state of the union of Haruka. Om Ma Guru Vajradhara, Kalpabhadra Samudra Sri Bhadra, Sawa Siddhi Hum Hum.
So that the tradition of Jesangapa, the king of the Dharma, may flourish. May all obstacles be pacified, and may all favorable conditions abound. Through the two collections of myself and others, gathered throughout the three times, may the doctrine of Conqueror Lord Sandrapa flourish forevermore. Ornament of the scholars of the non-lotus laws. You are Buddha, Shakyamuni, and Vajradhara, the source of all attainment. Giteshvara, the treasury of unobservable compassion, Manjushri, the supreme stainless wisdom, Vajrapani, the destroyer of the foes of Mara. O venerable Guru Buddha, synthesis of all three truths, with my body, speech, and mind, respectfully I make request. Please grant your blessings to ripen and liberate myself and others, and bestow the common and supreme attainment. Ornament of the scholars of the land of the stars, you are Buddha Shakyamuni and Vajradhara, the source of all attainments. Avalokiteshvara, the treasury of unobservable compassion, Manjushri, the supreme stainless wisdom, and Vajrapani, the destroyer of the hosts of Mara. O venerable Guru Buddha, synthesis of all three truths, with my body, speech, and mind, respectfully I make request. Please grant your blessings to ripen and liberate myself and others, and bestow the common and supreme attainment. Sankappa, crown ornament of the scholars of the land of the stars, you are Buddha Shakyamuni and Vajradhara, the source of all attainment. Avalokiteshvara, the treasury of unobservable compassion, Manjushri, the supreme stainless wisdom, and Vajrapani, the destroyer of the hosts of Mara. O venerable Guru Buddha, synthesis of all three truths, with my body, speech, and mind, respectfully I make request. Please grant your blessings to ripen and liberate myself and others, and bestow the common and supreme attainment.
Class. One announcement is that we have a special celebration of the International Temples Project Day next Saturday, this coming Saturday evening. And we celebrate the International Temples Project every year on this day, doing different things, sometimes parties, sometimes fundraisers, sometimes courses like this. So we thought we would have a little kind of not big fundraiser party, but a kind of pay as you can fundraiser party. I think is that how it is? Pay what you like, yeah, by donation. And so there's going to be a candlelight meditation. We're going to dim the lights and have candles all around and make beautiful light offerings. I'm going to explain about the progress on the third floor, and the interior designers helped to develop it is going to be here for part of the event, so you can talk to her and learn about what's happening. I'm going to give a talk on the International Temples Project and show a little video. I think the video will be from Geshe-la's visit to KMC France when it was opened, which was an extraordinary and still is extraordinary project of the International Temples Project. You know, they are planning to build a Haruka temple there at KMC France, just like New York or Arizona. And then after that, Germany, I think, is also in the plans. So anyway, it should be a fun time. There'll be desserts. We've been promised. Very delicious desserts. Yum yum. And anyway, so everybody's invited. It'll be a nice time just to have a kind of get together and party and celebrate this incredible work of Venerable Geshe-la, which is a compassionate vision for bringing more and more places of refuge into this world, and they are definitely needed. So we can come together and rejoice in that and create some causes for that to flourish. Thank you.